Story begins in the year 2257 AD, 233 years from now. With Earth slowly dying, its resources running out, and its future uncertain, a group of people left in search of a new home. Their journey took them to a distant planet called the New World, a place where the sun never sets, a land full of both hope and danger. Here, they built colonies, believing they had found a fresh start. But they soon discovered something they couldn't escape: the noise, a mysterious force that makes every man's thoughts visible and audible. It appears as shifting colors and 3D holograms in the air, exposing even their deepest secrets. While some have learned to control it, others are consumed by it. But unlike men, women had no noise. Their thoughts remained silent, hidden from everyone. Years ago, a brutal war erupted between the colonists and the native spackle. The aftermath was devastating. All the women were lost, half the men perished, and the survivors were left stranded. Since then, the first wave of human colonists has lost all contact with Earth, with no way back and no help coming. Todd Hewitt is one of the youngest members of Prentisstown, a settlement that survived the war. He has never seen a woman, only heard whispers of their absence. Raised by his adoptive fathers, Ben and Cillian, Todd spends his days working the farm, longing for the day he will be recognized as a man. One morning, while walking his dog Manchi, Todd is approached by the town's preacher Aaron. The man's words cut deep, accusing him of weakness and comparing him to the women he's never met. Todd tries to suppress his noise, but it bursts forth in chaotic waves, exposing his unease. Later in town, Todd gets into a scuffle with Davy, the mayor's son. The two are always competing, neither willing to back down. Before things escalate, Mayor Prentice steps in, a man who has mastered his noise. Instead of scolding Todd, he appreciates his growing ability to control his noise, ending the conflict in his favor. Later that day, Todd returns home, greeted by his fathers. Over dinner, he tries to keep his thoughts in check, but his noise slips, revealing that Prentice had praised him. His fathers grow uneasy, knowing all too well the kind of influence Prentice can have. They warn him against getting too close to Prentice, but Todd doesn't understand their concern. That night, as Todd lies in bed, a fragmented memory surfaces, a lesson from Prentice years ago. A knife placed in his small hands, a lesson disguised as a command to control, to tame, to kill. Todd doesn't know what kind of man he is meant to be, but he is beginning to understand that in Prentisstown, becoming a man may not mean what he once thought. High above the New World, a scout ship hovers in orbit, its crew preparing to make contact with the first wave of colonists. Unaware of the chaos below, they send a shuttle to the surface. But as it descends, something goes wrong. The shuttle begins to burn, its systems failing as it hurtles uncontrollably toward the planet. Inside, the crew's thoughts, far into the noise, manifest in chaotic bursts, revealing their fear and confusion. The shuttle crashes deep in the woods near Prentisstown, leaving only one survivor. Meanwhile, Todd Hewitt is working in the fields with his adoptive fathers when he spots someone stealing food from their barn. Assuming it's a thief, Todd chases the figure into the woods with his dog Manchi. The trail leads him to the crash site, where he finds the smoldering wreckage and fresh graves. Realizing the thief might be a survivor, Todd rushes back to inform Mayor Prentice. But Todd's noise betrays him, his thoughts spilling out in vivid, uncontrolled waves. The men of Prentisstown, drawn by his mental projections, follow him to the mayor's house. Prentice, intrigued by Todd's discovery, leads a group to the crash site. When Todd mentions that the survivor had no noise, the mayor's eyes narrow. "A girl," he mutters, ordering his men to find her. Todd, left alone among the wreckage, is stunned when a girl suddenly appears. She's unlike anyone he's ever seen, silent, mysterious, and without the noise that defines every man in Prentisstown. But before Todd can speak, his noise erupts, alerting the others to her presence. A girl flees into the woods, but Prentice is quick to act. Using his mastery of the noise, he creates a holographic cage, trapping her. Back in town, Prentice questions her, revealing the grim history of Prentisstown. The war with the spackle, the loss of all the women, and the curse of the noise. The girl, in turn, shares her mission. She's part of the second wave of colonists, sent to scout the planet before the arrival of a massive mothership carrying 4,000 people. But as Prentice presses her for details, where the ship will land, when it will arrive, she grows suspicious. His questions feel less like curiosity and more like a plan. Prentice is suddenly called outside to address the restless men of Prentisstown, their noise buzzing with curiosity about the mysterious girl. Before leaving, he orders his son to watch her, but Davy, ever the spoiled brat, can't resist going through her bag. He accidentally triggers one of her gadgets, sending sparks flying and creating enough chaos for the girl to slip away unnoticed into the shadows. As she escapes, the girl hides beneath the floorboards of the preacher's house. There, she overhears Prentice and Aaron discussing their plans. Prentice reveals his frustration with their isolated life and his plan to seize the mothership when it arrives. He wants to use it to take over the entire planet. Aaron, however, believes she is an angel sent to punish the men of Prenticetown for their sins. Meanwhile, Todd sneaks into the mayor's house and steals the girl's bag, hoping to find something useful. When he returns home, he heads to the barn and starts checking through it, searching for anything important. As he digs through the items, Manchi suddenly sniffs out something. Shocked, he finds the girl hiding in the dim corner of the barn. Seeing the fear in her eyes, he realizes she's terrified and decides to help her, keeping her presence a secret. Before they can talk, one of Prentice's men arrives, having spotted her jacket nearby. Todd quickly hides her and faces the man, struggling to control his noise. He forces himself to act calm and sends the man away, pretending nothing is wrong. Ben and Cillian soon discover the girl and lock her in the barn, fearing the danger she brings. They warn Todd that keeping her is too risky and insist she must be returned to Prentice. But Todd refuses, feeling a growing connection to her. Reluctantly, Ben and Cillian agree to help, realizing this might be Todd's only chance to start a family of his own. Ben tells Todd to take the girl to Far Branch, another human settlement on the planet. Todd is stunned. He never knew other towns existed. Cillian worries Far Branch might be hostile to Prenticetown men, but Ben assures him the girl's presence will protect Todd. Meanwhile, the girl finds an abandoned motorcycle nearby and discovers its system is still working. She hurries to repair it, hoping it will help her escape faster. Before they can leave, Prentice and his men arrive, searching for the girl. Prentice confronts Todd, demanding to know where she is. Todd tries to stay silent, but his noise betrays him, revealing her location. In the chaos, the girl escapes on a motorcycle, and Todd chases after her on horseback. As they flee, Davy turns his gun on Cillian and pulls the trigger. Todd watches in horror as Cillian collapses. Prentice turns to Ben, offering him a choice: help track Todd and the girl, promising to keep Todd safe and let him live. Ben is not ready to reveal where Todd is headed, but in a desperate and unconscious moment, Cillian's noise betrays the truth. Todd's destination is Far Branch. With Prentice's men closing in, Todd and the girl race through the dense forest. He eventually catches up to her, but their escape is far from over. When an accident leaves them without the motorcycle and his horse too injured to go on, they have no choice but to continue on foot. At first, the girl doesn't trust Todd, but when his noise projects a 3D hologram of a map leading to Far Branch, a safe place where she can contact her ship, she realizes she has no better option and agrees to join him. Forced to continue on foot, they begin their journey to Far Branch. In the middle of the forest, Todd hears familiar footsteps rustling through the leaves. He turns, surprised to see Manchi bounding toward him. Relieved, Todd welcomes his loyal dog back, and the three continue their journey together. Along the way, Todd learns more about the girl. She reveals her name as Viola Eade and shares her story. She was born on the mothership, her parents died during the 64-year journey from Earth, and she's never set foot on a planet before. Todd, in turn, opens up about losing his mother as a baby. The two grow closer, though Todd struggles to control his noise, which often betrays glimpses of his thoughts about her. During their journey, Todd and Viola encounter a spackle. At first, the creature doesn't notice them, and they hide. But Todd's noise betrays their presence, drawing the spackle's attention. It lunges at Todd, grabbing him and dragging him across the ground. Fueled by anger over his mother's death, Todd fights back, determined to kill it. Viola intervenes, pleading with him to show mercy. As they lock eyes with the creature, they realize it isn't attacking, it's just as afraid of them as they are of it. Reluctantly, Todd lets it go, marking the beginning of a fragile understanding between the two. Todd and Viola arrive at Far Branch, a settlement filled with men, women, and children, a sight Todd has never seen before. They are greeted by the town's mayor, Hildy, but when Viola accidentally reveals Todd is from Prenticetown, the mood turns hostile. Todd is immediately handcuffed, and the men of Far Branch confront him, their anger clear. After speaking with Viola, Hildy steps in, ordering the men to back off and release Todd from the handcuffs. Hildy offers Todd and Viola shelter and food, explaining that Viola can contact her mothership from Haven, the first human settlement on the New World. Viola decides to leave for Haven the next morning, but Todd struggles with the thought of her leaving. His noise betrays him, showing his wish for her to stay and even kiss him. Embarrassed, Todd apologizes, but Viola doesn't seem upset. In the quiet of that night, they fall into a casual conversation. As they talk, Todd mentions the journal Ben gave him, a book that once belonged to his mother, but says he can't read it. He explains how Prentice has destroyed all books and learning tools, making sure the only knowledge passed down is how to fight for land and survive. Viola, surprised, asks if she can read it for him. She reads aloud the heartfelt words of Todd's mother, Carissa, who wrote of her love for him and the growing tension in Prenticetown. Carissa reveals that Prentice and Aaron turned the men against the women, leading to their massacre, not the spackle, as Todd had been told. Prentice saw women as a threat because their thoughts couldn't be seen or heard through the noise, making them impossible to control. He convinced the men they were the enemy. Shocked and angry, Todd feels betrayed by the lies he's lived with his entire life. Meanwhile, Prentice and his men arrive at Farbranch, demanding Viola's surrender. Hildy and the townspeople distract them while Todd and Viola try to escape. Preacher Aaron finds them, forcing them to hide in a storeroom. A Farbranch woman helps keep Aaron away with a rifle. As Aaron and Prentice's men surround the building, Prentice chooses not to cause chaos and instead sends Ben to negotiate. Ben pleads with Todd to give up Viola in exchange for his safety, but Todd confronts him about the journal. Ben admits he couldn't save the women, but did his best to protect Todd. As Prentice grows impatient, Ben steps out with what looks like Viola. But as she walks toward Prentice, she suddenly vanishes, a 3D hologram created by Ben's noise. The distraction allows the real Viola, Todd, and Manchi to slip away through a back door, but their escape is just beginning. As they flee, Aaron spots them and gives chase. Desperate, the pair find a boat and push off into the river. But Aaron, on horseback, follows them in, pushing forward even as the water rises around him. He grabs the boat and flips it over, sending them into the cold, rushing current. Todd manages to save Viola, but in the chaos, Aaron grabs Manchi, holding the dog under the water until he stops struggling. Todd is shattered. Manchi was more than a dog. He was his only true companion. Pain fills him, but Viola pulls him away, keeping him from falling apart. With no time to grieve, they keep moving, following the towering remains of an old monorail that leads them to the ruins of the first colony ship. The ship is a graveyard of humanity's first hopes on the new world. Inside, Viola finds an emergency transmitter, but her relief is short-lived. The antenna is damaged. Unbeknownst to them, Prentice and his men are approaching fast, closing in on the ship. Todd, determined to help, climbs the wreckage to fix it, while Viola prepares to send the signal. Time is running out. Meanwhile, Aaron sneaks into the ship, his mind unraveling. He corners Viola, his noise spilling out in chaotic waves of guilt and madness. He confesses to killing the women of Prenticetown, tormented by the voices in his head and his inability to silence them. Lost in his delusions, he believes fire is the only way to cleanse himself. Viola, seeing no other way to escape, uses one of her gadgets to set him on fire. Flames engulf him as he stumbles backward, his body consumed by the flames as his noise finally fades to silence. The signal is sent, but outside, Prentice waits with Ben, growing impatient. Suddenly, his noise surges, booming through the air as he demands Todd's surrender. He holds Ben at gunpoint, threatening him to comply. Ben, despite the danger, tells Todd to stay strong and not give in. Before Todd can react, Prentice pulls the trigger. Todd rushes to his father's side as he collapses. With his final breath, Ben slips a knife into Todd's hand and whispers an apology for keeping the truth about his mother from him. Enraged, Todd attacks Prentice, but the mayor overpowers him with ease. Todd runs to hide with Prentice, holding him at gunpoint, and shoots him, leaving Todd wounded and cornered. But Todd's mind is getting stronger. Drawing on his noise, he focuses, creating an illusion of the women Prentice killed, his mother among them, surrounding the mayor, their voices echoing as they call him a coward. Prentice flinches, his confidence cracking as the ghosts of his past close in around him. Distracted and disoriented, Prentice stumbles toward the edge of the shipwreck. Viola strikes him with a pipe, and he loses his balance, his hands clawing at the air as he tumbles backward, disappearing into the depths below. As Todd collapses from his injuries, the sky lights up with the arrival of the colony mothership. The remaining Prenticetown men flee in fear, and Todd sinks into unconsciousness. He wakes up in the ship's medical bay, healed and with Viola by his side. She tells him she's staying on the new world, and Todd's noise betrays his hope for a kiss. Viola smiles, leading him to meet the other colonists. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos like this. There are amazing stories coming your way. Take care, and see you next time.